Technical issues, so I should turn on my video. Okay, so we are back with session number 2 of the Indigenous Global Unity Summit, and we are in week 74, where we are just about to introduce Gabriela Malaika from Tafoa, Uganda, a member of UnityNet Africa and Diaspora in UnityNet Uganda in the discussion group. She's been with us for quite a while, also working with the Floods and Kids Program Africa team. And so she is part of the group that we have within UnityNet focusing on elders and seniors. And so her presentation today is intended to be a presentation about the resilience of older persons in a changing world. So as we move forward, we would like to share our screen with Malaika if she has her presentation ready for us to do that. This will be the second part of our UnityNet Indigenous Global Unity Summit event, which were unfortunately cut off during our last discussion, but we have resilience within ourselves as well. So we are going to continue this work, and hopefully Malaika.
Give me just a moment, Lloyd. I'm going live stream this. So give me just one moment, please. Thank you so much.
Oh, so we're only recording and not live stream. Okay.
No, I said let me live stream now. I have to restart when I came back in. So let me just restart right now.
Yep. So in the meantime, Malaika, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. And we are live streaming. We are live streaming now, and we are recording. So I'm gonna.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew.
Okay.
Malaika, are you able to share the screen with your presentation?
Yeah. You cannot start screen sharing while the other participant is sharing. That's the feedback I'm getting.
Okay, so that will be Andrew. Yep.
The floor is yours now. Thank you so much. And please, Malaika, make your introduction as well. If you can, briefly share your video. I know you might be challenged there, but we are streaming. So if you can, briefly introduce yourself to our audience. If not, then proceed. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Is it a good video?
There she is. There's even better lighting.
Live and in living color. Welcome and thank you so much, Malaika. Please take this opportunity to introduce yourself and your organization before you begin your presentation, unless that's included in your presentation. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So I will mute myself as we move into this. If you see my lips moving, it means I forgot to unmute. But the floor is yours now, Malaika. If you can share your screen, do that.
Okay, I need to get to my desktop first, where I save my work.
Now I could mention now or later about some of the conversations that we've been also having with people also in Sierra Leone, as well as folks in Nepal. So we are wanting to do some work in both of those countries as we move forward and try to implement projects. So there are ongoing conversations, of course, as mentioned by Erwan, in Nigeria, and in, of course, the places where Malaika is, in Uganda. But we are trying to expand our work to other communities around the world. Malaika, are you almost ready to share your screen?
Yeah, I am almost. It is on the desktop. I don't know how to pick from the desktop to sharing.
So you use the Zoom share tool.
Yeah, I'm going to
At the bottom of the Zoom window, there's this thing, usually it's the green button for screen sharing.
Okay, new share, right?
Mhm. Now we just need you to change the windows.
It's on the desktop. Okay, go to desktop. Desktop. Okay. Then we go to
So the other thing we actually do want to do in 2023 is also an international Grandmother's Bubble Fun Multicultural Festival. That's what we're hoping to do here in the city of Markham, taking that Bubble Fun Festival in August 2023, so we can do something between the International Day of Indigenous Peoples on August 9th and the World Humanitarian Day on August 19th. And it's probably something as close to International Youth Day as possible, August 12th. So we want to do planning for that, as well as fundraising to start planning for something that we can do here locally. So we're starting that discussion now. That's something I want to talk to Jim Jones about, so we can begin the conversations with him about not just the infrastructure, but the cultural side of things in terms of conversations we have. That is important for us to have that discussion. It's through Drawdown Markham and our partners through Community Climate Action Hub, as well through the Collaborative Exchange Program that we have to bring these programs and work together with our partners around the world. Engaging hopefully with Hollywood North to start creating youth empowerment music that helps to carry this message of localization of global goals and creating localized, productive, compassionate, collaborative, regenerative economy that leaves no one behind in all our local communities. So I'm looking forward to creating a campaign to support the implementation of UNDRIP, as noted, locally in every community, where we can take this to every local community globally, and society as a whole, helping to bring cultural education back into the schools as well as the conversation with our local school board, where we would host this in partnership with, and as we build a global partnership with regenerative development and the network of humanitarian enterprises and those INET collaboratives, of course, so we can all come together in partnership as per SDG 17, focusing on this practical implementation of the local regenerative solutions for achieving this productive, compassionate, collaborative, regenerative economy that leaves no one behind. So, of course, fulfilling the mandate of the original Global Unity Business Group and the AHIABGA around localization of the SDGs and creating partnerships to do so, which is now, of course, something that UnityNet is doing with UNET, as well as our other partners in the continental networks that we are creating, which focus, of course, on education and training around smart food, beverages, and even different types of medical or health-related aspects, not just in terms of medical things, but also in terms of healthy food for our local community members. So hopefully we'll have Gabriela being able to share her presentation with us shortly. We have Samson coming on the line with us as well. Welcome, Samson. We're just waiting for. We need you to share the actual presentation itself. What we're seeing is your desktop files.
But you've seen it?
We don't see the presentation itself. Maybe you need to stop, share, and then share specifically the screen with your presentation. And make sure you click sound if there are any sounds.
Can we see it?
Yes, now we have it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. On call, my name's Gabriela. I think I can put on my video.
Please do so.
Where's the video? Okay, my name's Gabriela Malaika Ligami from Uganda, Kampala. I am so grateful for this opportunity to share that day for the elderly person, the ADOP, and I'll be so brief in my presentation this evening. And I'm so humbled for the organizers for the platform, IGU Summit platform, for this opportunity that you've given unto me. And quickly, that's my screen already that I'm sharing, presentation on resilience of older persons in changing world and Jaffa interventions. So just quickly, my outlines. The outlines, we shall have the situational analysis, organization introduction, the core programs, our resilience, that's the core point why I'm doing a presentation this evening. Then summary of our achievement to date, what we have learned, opportunities, challenges, and our challenges to be encountered, and our future plans at Jaffa. So situation of older persons and offices in Uganda. Yeah, older persons. Basically, Uganda adopted the UN definition of older persons as those aged 60 years and above. So our older persons are in specific interest group, that is IGs, recognized by the 1995 Constitution. When we get to the economic situation, majority of our older persons are living in rural areas where poverty is rife, economic opportunities are limited, cases of the elderly abuse based on gender and neglect are very high, ill health is common, and health services are inadequate. So we find out that this 85% of the active older persons engage in crop farming with no social protection, rendering them totally vulnerable. So we get to the Social Security. Here we have the National Social Security Fund, which covers a very small percentage of these older persons. We find out that 7.1% of the elderly, they have access to pension, of which 60% are males. So we ask ourselves, what about the women who are not accessible to this pension? We have to see that in the olden days, Many women were kept at home and the males were the ones who work. Reason why that figure is that way. So the few beneficiaries of pensions face multiple difficulties in processing their retirement benefits here in Uganda, though the process has now been decentralized and now pensioners receive their benefits from the last point of employment they served before retirement. So when we come to health, we have common health problems of older persons, which include hypertension, arthritis, diabetes, blindness, that has also made them incapacitated. Then we have also HIV and AIDS. So we have the OVCs, the orphan vulnerable children, who are under the care of these older persons. The children constitute about 57.4% of Uganda's total population of about 30.7 million people. So orphanhood in Uganda remains a big challenge, with proportion of children that are orphaned increasing. So children vulnerability is relatively a wide range of factors, which include poverty, sickness, weakness of family structures, labor, life in streets, disability, stuff like that. So continuation. So protection of vulnerable children and girls in particular is spotty and unreliable, leaving children at great risk of abuse, neglect, exploitation in a wide range of settings, such as homes and schools. Then we have the food security and nutrition. There are other cross-cutting issues closely linked to poverty and marginalization, with direct damaging effects on children and their growth, development, and well-being. So when we check on the female-headed household, including those of the older women, 35.5% are food insecure, and 38% of children aged 5 and below are stranded due to child chronic hunger. So actually, basically, these households suffer from lack of food. Hunger is key. Then we have across the country other factors, including the GBV, the gender-based violence, conflict, post-COVID pandemic, displacement, rapid urbanization fundamentals, which have contributed to child vulnerability, which has forced these children to early marriages, commercial sex workers, exploitation, boys being involved in drugs, stuff like that. So in Uganda today, of the 8.1 million children, many of them, half of them are living in situation which is not favorable at all. So we come to see who is therefore, who are we? I was just briefing you about the situation status of the elderly person and the OVCs in Uganda. So who are these people behind the voice of the voiceless? That's JAFOA. So who we are? JAFOA stands for Jehovah Alive of Old Age. We are not Jehovah Witness. We are not faith-based, but that's our name for the organization, so which stands for everyone. It's not a it is a not-for-profit NGO. We were established in 2016 and fully registered at national and regional level in 2017. We have a functional decision-making body. We have a secretariat responsible for the day-to-day operation of the organization, headed by the ED, and we are stationed, our head offices are in Kampala City. Our vision as an organization is to have a society where all the persons, the orphans, the vulnerable children live a healthy life. Our vision, our mission is to provide both spiritual, medical, economic support services to the helpless older persons and the orphaned vulnerable children. So our areas of operation, as I said earlier, we are an organization that is registered countrywide at national level. So our operation is countrywide. That's what our permit is reading. So description of our target groups. JAFOA is well known for speaking or advocating for the elderly and the orphan vulnerable children. So who are these target groups that we target? We ask therefore the older persons. This include the physically, mentally incapacitated. These are older persons who live in isolation without any family or community support. They are there, and many. Then you have also another class of older persons who are chronically sick. These are older persons who suffer incurable illnesses. Then we have the homeless, like a case of John, the homeless. These are older persons who live in temporary makeshifts in the community. I think I've shared these photos time without number of this state of older persons down in Africa. Then we have the widows and the widowers. These are older persons that have lost their spouses, but they are still pressing on. Then we have the economically active poor. These are older persons who are economically active, but are not gainfully employed. They have no capital, but they are active. They can be involved in economic activity, but they are incapacitated. So we get to the needy children. These are orphaned, vulnerable children, aged between 4 and 24 years old. Yeah, so an orphan is a child that has lost one or both the parents. So our collaboration partners, we're working hand in hand closely with the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. That is a ministry under the government body. We have the National Council for Older Persons, also it's a body under the government. We have Healthness Uganda, it's here in Uganda. We have the Power of the Living Word Ministries. It's a faith-based organization in London. We have the Kingdom Court. It's also a faith-based organization in Chicago. Then we have the Madada Foundation. We have Roseley Institute. Yes. So we have the core program areas. Our core program areas, we have healthcare, psychosocial support, hygiene and environmental sanitation. We try our best to make sure this is done in our humble capacity. Community-based working groups. We have agriculture and nutrition, health nutrition. We support the OVCs. These are the orphan vulnerable children, that's child protection, to access social services, including formal education, vocational skilling, healthcare, and legal. We do also advocate and promote capacity building, then women empowerment. So celebrating the resilience of older persons in a changing world. First of all, we can ask ourselves, what is resilience in ageism? So resilient thinking in older persons gives them the ability to recover from adversity, thrive with a sustainable purpose, and grow in a world of turmoil, change, and chronic illnesses. It's a generative capacity that maintains health and function in the face of loss, disability, disease. In other words, resilience is not simply the ability to survive a difficult experience, but I think it's the ability to adapt, yeah? Adapt and cope with circumstances in a way that enables one to emerge stronger, to strive in the aftermath, and to integrate the lesson learned. And these are traits that can be learned and can have an effect on positive aging, including senior health and wellness as they relate to healthy aging. So once we accept as we age and you accept, like, this is not how I was, but because of ageism, I can live with this, but you take it in a positive way. This is what we are talking about, resilient in ageism. So it makes them even live longer, yeah, have hope where there was no hope before. So each year on October 1st, we stop to take a moment to love and appreciate the older persons in this changing world. And this year's theme was about celebrating resilience of older persons in this changing world. Though it happened on 1st October, we are applauding all older people in our communities for their fearlessness over the past years. We loved seeing them take the pandemic in their stride. Thinking of others, we saw older persons do this. They thought about their children, their grandchildren, their neighbors. such as their loved ones before themselves. And we love how many learned how to use smartphones. Actually, this was a challenging time during the pandemic, and you could really see them learning how to use a gadget, their phones, to reach out, because everyone was in lockdown. You could not reach out to your relatives. So what they could do, they really had to catch up with the current situation so they could still connect face to face with their loved ones. So older people may be some of the most vulnerable people in our community, but they're also the most resilient. So my next continuation, in psychiatry and psychology, resilience is identified as an individual's positive adaptation to life tasks under stressful and adverse social situations, or positive growth that mediates threats of recovery after disruption. The concept describes dynamic coping capacity related to risk factors. What are these risk factors? We have the stressful life events such as disease, loss of social support. Many of these older persons, when they were in the youthful age or adult age, they were used to money. Now there is no money, financial hardship, where they need to depend on their children. And these children, they are now married or they've gotten life commitment. They tend to forget their parents. So it becomes hard for them. So we have psychological resilience. It can be influenced by the interaction of internal factors. What are these internal factors? We have the cognitive capacity, personality, physical health, external resources, so the social status, financial stability. So resilience in older person and its effects take several characteristics of people who are there to face challenges and successfully navigate their way to the other side. Key characteristics of high resilience fall into three categories. We have the mental, we have the social, and we have the physical. The mental, I get to the mental characteristics include such things as adaptive. Mental characteristics include such things as adaptive coping styles, gratitude, happiness, mental health, optimism, and hopefulness. That is mental. So it has to start with our mind. Then we have the social. We have the social characteristics. We have the social characteristics include, among other things, community, involvement, contact with family and friends, sense of purpose, and strong positive relationship. Then I get to cultivating resilience. Resilience is not simply a set of personal characteristics one is born with. No, you're not born with resilience. It's an adaptive. As we keep on growing older and older and older, we adapt. It's a process that we adapt that can be learned. It also isn't dependent on circumstances. In fact, research has shown that older persons can exhibit traits of high resilience regardless of their socioeconomic background, life experiences, or health challenges. Tips on practices to behaviors of resilient aging in an effort to increase one's own ability to cope with difficult circumstances. So we have to maintain an optimistic attitude and always look for the silver lining, meaning look at the positive side. Look at the other side of the story, not focusing on what they are seeing right now. Actually, this is the gospel that we are going down there in the communities, speaking to them, telling them this. Yes, you are not born lame, you are not born blind, but here is the situation. Yeah, how do we cope up with this? See, now what I said before, the mental, the social, then you adapt it. This is what cultivating resilience. So we are engaging in new activities. There are activities that now we allow, like now agriculture that we are doing down there in the community in Kayunga. We are engaging them. As we do this, they're adopting into new environment, new activities, cultivating new friendship or join a social group. we have our circles, which I created with my team members for these older persons, where they sit in a group, they say stories, they remind themselves of the olden days, what used to happen, how they used to dance. Yeah, the circles where they come with some little money to make savings. So that is it, cultivating new friendship or join social group. And then the next is accept that some things are out of your control and take action on the things you can affect. Practices stress management techniques. That is it. Then my next is develop a spiritual practice like prayer, meditation, yoga, or mindful journaling. Maintain perspective. Don't let your thoughts run away with you. Practice self-care through proper nutrition, regular exercise, good sleeping habits. Most of these older persons will tell you that me, I sleep for 30 minutes. The rest of the rest of the night, I'm sleepless. I'm thinking. And after thinking, they don't get any answers for what they're thinking, any answers to their problems. So we encourage them to practice self-care through proper nutrition, regular exercise, and good sleeping habits. Then volunteer your time to help others. You'll find out these older persons in the communities, they really volunteer with all their hearts to help others, to help their children, to help the mothers who are going to deliver. You'll see these older women ready to help, because that one helps them to adapt with the current situation. Then ask for help when you need it. Then look for the lessons you can learn from that situation. So as you repeatedly turn your focus towards practicing the things you can do to overcome difficult circumstances, you may soon find that it becomes second nature, leading you towards a more empowered, engaged, happy, and yes, resilient life. And this is what we are looking into at Jaffoa, to see these older persons adapt to this resilient life in this changing world. Right now in Uganda, we have now Ebola. So many of them, they'll only be shocked. They'll just get shocked because the government is alarming to get us into another lockdown. So if they don't adapt now, or if they didn't adapt before during the COVID, so when this Ebola situation comes in, you find many of them, they just die not because of Ebola, but because of shock, because of stress, because of depression. So why is resilience important in all age? Resilience is a relatively new psychological construct in geriatrics that allows older adults to improve their ability to adapt positively when faced with adversity. Resilience has an important role in recovery from adversity and better physical and mental health in later life. So other strategies for reinforcing resilience include practicing meditation. And this I always encourage them, practicing meditation. When you meditate, you don't meditate on the bad. You don't meditate on the negative, but you be there, meditate on the goodness. How good, goodness of life, Mother Earth, how good life has been. I'm now 80 years, I'm now 70 years. You meditate the years that have gone before. Which generation are you leaving behind? So that's it. Strategies of reinforcing resilience, developing mindfulness skills, creating a physical exercise routine. You keep in their mind, because like at Jaffa, after 2 weeks, we always do exercise with them. Yeah, not running, but we just have aerobics. Yeah, you see them getting excited. They look forward always for the middle of the month to do aerobics. So, and by the time this exercise is done or this session is done, you find them, they are so relieved, they're excited, and their mindset is really changed. Then learning coping skills that can help you adapt to stress, overcome trauma, or deal with anxiety. Then I got the 5 C's of resilience. We have confidence, we have commitment, we have community, we have compassion, we have centering. So how does resilience change with age? A number of studies have shown that resilience does not decline with age. And when other factors have been taken into account, older persons are at least as resilient as younger adults. So the good news is that we can draw comfort from research that shows people become more resilient and optimistic with age. So as we age, as we grow older, we become more optimistic when it comes to and more resilient. Despite the enduring life's challenges, many older persons or the elderly seem to be more at peace and happier than those even who are a fraction of their age, like the 35-year-old, those who are in 30s, those who are in 20s. You'll find that they are more traumatized, they are more worried than the older persons. And then we have why the older persons. So why? Why the older persons in our communities, or why the elderly amidst us? Why the 60 and above among us? So older persons are fonts of wisdom, experience, and storytelling. And actually this clip I picked from what Professor Lloyd had just posted in one of the groups. And I felt that many people don't read this, but I picked it for myself and for what I do. And he quoted, older persons are fonts of wisdom, experience, and storytelling. They aspire us to continue striving on, or warn us of dangers that we are unaware of. Even if it's negative, when you get to this older person, they will always encourage you. They'll always tell you, go ahead. It is possible. Everything is possible. Even when you see there is no hope, they do that. We should look to them, yes, as guidance whenever and wherever possible. But unfortunately, our society tends to forget and more worse, ignore them. It's very true. Like last weekend, this Saturday that has just ended, I think on 29th of October, I visited the village again, the communities, and this is the time when the media, Uganda, approached me because of what I am doing. They were like, we need to talk to your beneficiaries. This is the reason why I went to the village, the community on Saturday. And just sitting with this elderly person, when they saw me, they were so excited. And I'm like, what happened to the children or the youth or the adults who are in this community? How comes this older woman can sit in a circle with us who have come from the city, and she pours her heart? She teaches the boys that have moved with them in the circle. She's so excited. But now the people that stay in the community with them, they don't tap into this wisdom. They don't tap into this advice. They don't tap into what their experience in life. So, reason to embrace aging. The world is getting much older. Longevity is becoming a commonplace. According to UN, life expectancy worldwide rose from 46 years to 68 years, and by the end of this century, it will be 81 years. So why IDOP, International Day for the Older Persons, is a special day for the elderly, who are our seniors, and is celebrated globally. It's on 1st October. It's the day whereby we come to understand why the older persons in our communities and their importance, and they deserve our respect and attention. Yes, the old ought to teach the young people. Thank you so much, Professor Lloyd, for that clip that I just picked from one of your emails that you sent to us, and I believe not many of us read that, get into details to read what you sent. But I felt it was so important for me to eat that, to understand it and meditate on that. Why the elderly, and why IDOP, and why should we love these older persons in our communities? So our activities, why this activity on 16th of December that I am organizing for JAFOA? Yeah, we are people like who don't move by sight, but we believe it will work out. We move by faith. So IDOP was on 1st October, but 1st of October, that October week, we were so busy. Yeah, it was a youth week. So we are going to have our activity on 16th of December, and we are doing our mobilization. We are doing all that we can. to see this day a successful day. So what are the activities that Jaffa is going to do on this particular day? At Jaffa, where hope for the elderly resides as our motto for the organization puts it, the following will be activities we shall carry out from Monday the 12th to Friday the 16th, the D-Day. So we shall have the social media campaigns about aging and older abuse, religious institutions engagements. We are planning to do that. We're going to train the village health teams, the VHT, and older persons on life skills and nutrition. So we shall also have the legal aid clinic from the Justice Center, same way COVID-19 vaccines exercises were conducted to guide older persons on pertinent issues. We're going to have a medical and health camp that will include free diagnosis of age-related illnesses, sicknesses. We shall have free treatment. We shall have free medication. Because knowing that these older persons, many of the 90% cannot even afford a painkiller, a Panadol. They can't access medical or health facility because their sickness or their illnesses are very expensive. So many of them, they just sit back in their homes waiting to die. This is a time when Jaffa will get in. This is a time when I get my volunteer doctors, the geriatricians and the geriatrician nurses on my mobile van, which is my family van, my family car, to get to these homes and do door-to-door medical outreach. But this particular day, we are going to bring them together and ensure these doctors reach to each one of them, diagnose them, meet their needs medically. Then summary of our achievement to date as Jaffa, as you see there, health and health services, support through our outreaches, that's what we've done. We so far done. We have a team of volunteer doctors, nurses, pharmacists. We've done emergency relief items and agricultural inputs, whole seedlings to older persons and children during the COVID-19. That was COVID-19 achievement. We have emergency relief items, what I've been doing, that's me. We give soap, salt, maize, flour, stuff like that. But we realized this is not sustainable. I was breaking down because it's not sustainable. Not every time we shall be giving them soap and salt, just hand to mouth, hand to mouth. Those ones who are energetic, we can also teach them how to plant some few crops, some food, less gestation period crops, like 3 months, 2 months, the vegetables are ready and they can have their meal. So we have also trainings of orphans and vulnerable children that was in Lira, which has increased their self-esteem to make informed decisions. Then we have scholastic materials to the kids. We do what we can, yeah. Schools open, so we buy books, pencils, and we give to them. So what we have learned meeting the welfare of children is everyone's responsibility. Participation must be inclusive. We should avoid existing patterns of discrimination and encourage opportunities. Marginalized children, both girls and boys, and older persons to be involved. Remember, disability is not an ability. All is possible. Partnership is strength, and engaging key stakeholders to implement what we have to do is a way of synergizing resources. Many offices in Uganda are cared for by the elder persons. Then older persons are identified or suspected or vulnerable. Elderly abuse, negligent, but still less prioritized in government programming and budgeting. Then the challenges we face, obviously we have the inadequate resources for effective programming or friendly intervention. Yes, I have good ideas, I have the programs, I have the vision boiling inside of me, but you cannot do much, my able leaders, when it is local mobilization. You have to mobilize resources locally for you to go and do an intervention. So resources have been really limited. So the demand for age-friendly social services like healthcare, livelihood, opportunities, among others, keeps on increasing every day. Every day, the demands for the older persons keeps on increasing on every day, but resources are very limited. Then we have high poverty levels within the household of the older persons. You get there, where they cook from is where they sleep, is where their goats or their cows sleep. It's pathetic, really pathetic. They are a group of people that they have been marginalized, forgotten, and never been bothered about. So as Professor Lloyd has always been saying, we should not leave anyone behind. I felt this is the time where we have to move with this older person together, with their overseas, their household together, to see how better we can change their lives. And then inadequate CSOs, those are the civil society organization advocacy efforts, the implementation of policies and programs that target older persons by government of Uganda. Then we have increased rates of children marriage, teenage pregnancy, school dropouts, elder abuse, negligence amidst COVID-19 rates of girls dropping out of school was so high that increased gender-based violence in our communities. Then we get to opportunities that we have at Darfur. Uganda has good sites for tourists. We have conducive political environment. We have existed of different CSOs platforms and networks for formation, knowledge and experience sharing in East Africa at regional level. Existence of national and international legal frameworks on older persons and children. There's also existence of a wide range of international donors, humanitarian agencies with potential to support older persons and children-related development programs. So our good working relationship with the Uganda government, line ministries, the district, the local government, communities, different NGO in the country, it's a plus to us. I've also at Darfur signed some MOUs with local government, with district, and I believe this is an opportunity for us. Then good hospitability. The Ugandans are hospitals. So our future plans is to mobilize resources for effective planning, implementation, monitoring and evaluation of our programs, empowerment of communities, children and women to respond to concern of child marriages, create and strengthen strategic partnership for formation, resource, and expertise sharing, support formal education for poor overseas, improve access to age-friendly healthcare services for the older persons, improve strategic planning, capacity strengthening for our human resource, establishment of standard homes for the older persons with caregivers, establishment of recreational centers that bring older persons and children to support them together, establishment of psychosocial centers that promote counseling centers. Then we create a conducive place for international partners to come in. So I think I'm done. That's me with my elderly persons, counseling, emotional therapy, only listening to you, it's their joy. That's me with my team. That's a couple that have been married for the past 75 years, which encourages us. For our generation, we get married for 5 years and we are running to the courts for divorce. But these ones have been together, that's their house, for 75 years. For bad and worse, for richer and for poor, health and sickness, they are together. Those are the things, those are the children. Yes, I be with them. And I think, thank you so much for the time. I think I took somewhere like 30 minutes for my presentation. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful for this meeting and for the opportunity to give my presentation on what I'm to do on the 16th of December. Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Blaga. That was so excellent. Actually, I did a bunch of screenshots of those slides, and I think that your passion just is very clear. This is very important to you, and I'm glad that you were able to do this today. I was a little bit worried at the beginning when you weren't coming in on the call. Unfortunately, we did have that glitch, but now we do have actually two separate recordings. One is the first opening of our IGU Summit, and then we have a second one, which is your presentation. So it actually worked out, I think, fairly well in terms of our programming today. So one thing I would like to say before we close out our IGU Summit, we will be finishing off. Was there a few things you wanted to say, Samson? I'm seeing that you did put on your video where you wanted to update us with anything that's going on in your part of the country.
I just wanted to thank you, sir. I just wanted to congratulate my dear sister Gabriela for the great presentation that she has done, and I know this is a good and awesome work that she's doing in Uganda, and also for the upcoming event that she will be having on 16th of November, I think so. This is something that is so good. The Bible says somewhere that if you take care of a person that is passing through difficulties, count your blessings with God. So may God bless you for the great work, and may God fulfill your desires. I believe that during your event, I believe that I will come over and celebrate with you together as a team. God bless you so much.
Thank you, Samson. So what I wanted to do as well is just as we close out here, I'm actually putting a link to the person that I will be talking with later today, Jim Jones, who is now the new Markham Regional Councillor, and you can see his priorities on the page in the link there. So he is actually planning to do several things, including introducing a pilot urban vertical farming project for the region where I live. So this is where we can potentially undertake twinning of our different programs here in Canada and in Africa as well, to undertake some pilots. But I do want to mention, as before we do close, as well, that the UnityNet initiative is not led by governments. It's not led by the schools. It's led by the members of our multi-stakeholder partnerships, these local INAP collaborative members, and the humanitarian entrepreneurs that we are trying to create in all our local communities. So all of these stakeholders have that voice at the table and have their projects, their community projects, move forward in their local communities. So that whatever they are doing, whatever they feel needs to be prioritized, these will be led by the local women and girls and the men who support them. So as feminists. So the important thing we do in UnityNet is help people to establish the INAP collaboratives, and then bring all of the members of the local INAP collaboratives together globally through this network, this safe spaces on the web. Eventually we will create this Interchange for Peace VCN. And so that's why we're doing those tree planting ceremonies and Unity flags, the Indigenous Unity flags, and the peace bowls and the youth peace gardens, so we can bring people together in peace as part of that Abraham project that's now ongoing. We continuously press this forward. We create the INAP collaboratives wherever we are. Those are the centerpiece, the center of our global community network of networks. So the INAP collaboratives really are intended there to uplift and empower the local female and feminist humanitarian entrepreneurs who are globalizing the global goals. So each community has those 8 different sectors, although we have originally 7 that were identified. We now include, of course, the Indigenous communities, as well as the public, private, civil society, academic, interfaith finance and orange economy, so the creative sector. And among the Indigenous communities, of course, we include the Indigenous communities of Africa and as well the African diaspora through UNAT and the UnityNet Africa and Diaspora. So as we create the INAP collaboratives led by the women in the local community with their feminist counterparts, we work closely with the NGOs and CSOs who are on the ground and with the community members. So they are the ones that know what's actually happening in the community and know what is happening in families who are living there. So these INAP collaborative members are tasked with watching and helping each other as per Ubuntu and supporting the local female and feminist humanitarian entrepreneurs in these local communities. So we want to empower them and all of the members of our global network. So all our activities are intended to be transparent and the global network, including the members of the INAP collaboratives, becoming accountable to and for the success of these humanitarian enterprises, which we start with those community unity garden humanitarian enterprises and those, as we call them, community hubs, where our vision is the global, peaceful, localized economy, led by the women and the men who understand the power of partnerships, as per SDG 17, instead of only competition and fighting war with each other and over resources as a way to move forward in the global economy. So with that, thank you all for coming on the call today and our 74th IGU Summit. Again, next week, 75, it's going to be another special day for us, hopefully, as we celebrate all of these events that are happening in our local communities. Again, the event for next week is also going to be moving toward the following event, which is the World Science Day for Peace and Development, Thursday, November 10th. So that is, again, something I'm going to put into this chat for the second session of our Zoom call, so that people can see what that is all about. So thank you all for today. Again, if you want to save the chat or have any additional comments as we close out our day.
Okay, thanks everyone. See you next week.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right.